today. We are going to talk about the ping pong games, and then because that was our last project, and then we'll talk about the greeting card, which is the next thing in Scratch. So, how many people did ping pong games?
Me.
Dave, you did
I
one.
did. I
I
dusted
Yes.
the
did.
thing up though.
So you
I
guys,
do
And then your second
not.
ping pong, you stole my idea.
who did?
You did.
I did.
Yeah, click on mine.
All right, we'll get there. All right.
I did my first alternative assignment.
Okay. And
Instead.
Chris did also, right? So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna kind of go down the line here. So, did you guys try doing the ping pong game, or did you just kind of look
I
at it and
I tried and I went into the remix and I just normal coding. It's weird. Normal coding I could read and understand. Just the scratch coding confuses me.
okay, so like kind of JavaScript stuff, or
What?
you've used
Sorry.
like some kind of JavaScript or something before, probably, or
Not that I have. It's just like I've looked at it before and I was somehow able to understand most of it.
yeah,
But with Scratch, I guess it's just because it's trying to simplify it, and I already understand it normally. It confuses me.
okay,
But
yeah. I
I
mean,
did the reading part okay.
okay. And Chris, what about you? Before I kind of give my commentary on that. Chris, what was your reason? Did you try the scratch game, or did you just kind of go and decide
Oh wait, which one?
the ping pong game?
No, which Chris?
Oh, I'm sorry, Rios. I forgot about that. I'm looking
It,
at my screen.
Oh, I looked at it and then I was like going. I saw that what you're showing right now, and I was
Right.
like, I both understand what they're trying to do, but I was like, nah, I do not have the brain cells for that.
And
I figured it out.
it definitely takes a different mindset. You have to think about, like a flow chart type of thing, and we always say that computers are only as smart as the directions that we give them, right? So,
Yes.
so if you're not telling it exactly what you want it to do, it doesn't know. It can't read your mind, unfortunately. Um, so I know that this can be frustrating, and I'm glad that you had the alternatives, and you guys, Chris and Maddie, you both did a great presentation, which we'll look at also on kind of what else you did. But just to kind of maybe look at this from a different perspective, I like this because it was totally customizable. There was some stuff on Hour of Code, which is another site that uses these building blocks, but you couldn't really customize it, and so I didn't really feel like as designers that we'd really, I think people would just get, think it was pretty lame in that way. So um, I think this is cool, and just kind of looking at the control that you do have. You have your backdrop, which we put in there, and then you had the ball, which had the most coding on it, the paddle, and the line. So there's kind of two things that are happening, and if we were in school, we'd be using Adobe Animate, and we'd be using action scripts to assign types of operations to different objects. And maybe Maddie, that's where you would have been maybe more comfortable because it's more text based than these building blocks. But I definitely agree that they are trying to simplify it and kind of get you into that mindset of just things being connecting and controlling other aspects of it. So from an interactive design type of mindset, I think it is successful in trying to work through a problem, and the ordering of things is, as we can see, very important here too. So
Yeah.
so what it's doing with the ball, we can see it's pointing in a direction, and it just keeps moving 10 steps, and then when it clicked, if it touches the paddle, it changes the score by one. Then it turns, it moves, and we have it playing the sound as it bounces off of it. So we see those actions there with that. The paddle itself just moved, and I did see somebody putting their line vertically, which was, I always like to see variations of kind of what the model was. So that was kind of a nice change with that. And then it always played the sound. This was my background sound, which I kind of thought that should have been more in the backdrop, but um, it worked more so just having the sound or the music on the paddle. And then finally the line, if it clicks, then it reset the score and it stopped the game. So, you know, with this type of stuff, there's a lot of flexibility, and you can add definitely more stuff to this. You know, maybe you could have some credits play or another scene or something like that. You know, we'll play around and, you know, try to find a happy medium between complexity and kind of, I guess, interesting designs. But you know, I thought this was kind of a good starter. I think the other thing that was good about this is that you could just, I guess as we got into the greeting card, see that you could just modify an existing code. Because I think in programming, that is a pretty useful thing to know how to do. You don't always want to start from nothing, right? Whereas, you know, we had the, if I go back to the next card, or the greeting card, the function or the option that they allowed you to do to remix it basically allowed you to start from what somebody else has, kind of like a template, and then add your own things to it. So that's what I kind of was showing on my demonstration video, because I think on the ping pong game, none of that code was there to start off with, so you had to find everything and bring it in. But what I suggested doing on the greeting card project was just open up the existing one and basically modify it. So you bring in your own pictures, and then, you know, so if we just go and search for a picture to do for, you know, for this type of, maybe you had, you know, whatever other object in here on your front cover. So all you would have to do, I have the flower on the inside. You can just go in here and copy this attribute and then paste it onto here, and then just kind of keep going back and forth. And then in the end, just delete this other artwork. So in that sense, you know, I thought that was a good progression. And first, kind of understanding what all the options were, but then, you know, not having to start from the beginning, you know, and being able to remix the existing program and to kind of modify it to the way that would fit your own design. So, you guys kind of understand my thought process at least?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so with that, oh, and sorry, I did go on a tangent there. Actually, we'll come back to the alternates then. While we're talking about the ping pong games, we'll just kind of go through all of yours that are in here. So, I think you had something a little different at the end, David, if I remember. Nope. Some of the shapes move very quickly, or the paddles being so small, it's hard to get to it, but this works. So your paddle was pretty small, so that made it difficult.
Yeah, I can't figure out with the game though. Like it just keeps going in the same like movement with the ball or the fish. Really. It just keeps going the same direction every time. It won't go in a random direction when hit.
Well,
I don't understand how other people have gotten that.
you sure it's? I mean, it's not a coincidence with that.
I don't know.
Let's see. If I look inside yours and we play around with this, the one thing I was afraid of is if we see inside, if we were actually modifying people's code. But
No, you're not.
I don't think it does. So
Nah.
if we went into here, maybe there would be a variable in here that would be kind of more random. So, because I feel like I did see something in there with that. But, so that would be one thing I guess you would want to change, is that the ball would be more random than just kind of in the same motion all the time.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out. I did many different things, but that's the only one that gets the ball to move without touching the line right away.
Alright, well I'll look into that a little more. I don't want to spend too much time in our discussion here today. But that would definitely, I think, be good. What did you do to get the animation happening on the bottom here?
It's actually a simple thing that I also use on Premiere Pro to get like text bounce from when it first appears. So like if you click on the line when you finish,
Yeah.
you can see that I have when the green flag is clicked, forever set size to 110, and then wait 0.5 seconds, and
All
then
right.
it continues on. I do the same process when I'm in Premiere Pro to get a bounce text. That's
Yeah.
all it's doing. It's just making the object bounce.
So you're essentially making keyframes in there at different sizes, right? Like we talked about that when we were animating all kinds of keyframes, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Very creative. Did you have sound in here?
Yeah, I did.
All right. I don't remember hearing it. I don't hear it now. Let's see. Where do we see? Oh yeah, there's that sound there at least. So is that?
Yeah, it should play the second you lose, but some reason I guess it's not like playing for you. I don't know, but like it was working for me. And then there's music in the background the longer you play as you're paddling.
All right. Yeah, I don't know why I wasn't hearing any sound on that, but all right, as long
Yeah,
as
if you click on sounds, or no, click on backdrops first, and
Okay.
then click on the backdrops. Yeah, there's a Diamond's Eye. It's a non-copyrighted song.
And then rain
It plays
over here.
Yeah, after 1 second it plays, and
Let's just.
I was trying to figure out how to get. Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to get the switches, how to switch backgrounds. It was really weird because they overlay each other.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, there should be rain noise playing after game over, and then after like a few seconds, the song should play when you're paddling, and also when you hit the fish with the paddle, it should make the splash noise
All right.
or
Well,
plunge.
I'll play
just
around
gotta,
with it later and try to see if I can figure out if I can get it to work any differently.
Yeah.
Good job though, with that. And Zach's not here. All right, so here's Liam's. Liam, what'd you think of this experience?
It was fine.
I loved your characters. Definitely
This-
good
Yeah,
paddle.
this was. The music is just random music I had on my computer at the time.
Okay. Did you have a hit sound when the ball hits the paddle?
Random copyright free music, YouTube's audio library.
No, but did you? Well, that was the background music. Did you have a sound like when it hit the people on the ground?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
All right. So that's the only thing I would suggest to try to include with that. Otherwise, good. Gabe is not here. Miss Gabe. Jackie is not here, right? Did we get anybody else? No. All right. Didn't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Marty's not here. Jai Chin is not here. Ben is not here. Maddie is here. We'll come back to do alternate work afterwards. All right, so Chris, did you finish yours?
Yeah,
All right, you didn't put it in Google Plus then?
I did. But I put it in as I was in the mini. So
Okay, let me refresh. There you go. All right, so I thought I had something yesterday that I commented. All right, maybe I hit it in the wrong spot. There we go. Perfect. So we got the background music, we got the sound effects, and we have our score increasing, and then blah. All right, good job. Any questions?
Oh, how do you get the bounce noise? Like when it makes contact with it? Mine would only work in a certain spot.
mm,
Let's
Like like if you hit it properly on a certain spot on the object, it would make the noise, but yours is making the noise every time.
So I believe that would be this sound, right? So the paddle, that would be applied to that. Is this your background music, Chris, or is this the...
that's the background music. Yeah.
Alright, so then it's not that then. Alright, so when... So this is it in here then. So
Yeah.
when clicked, if it's touching the paddle shield, which is this thing, change the score by 1 and play the sound clang. So I don't know, David, if that looks the same on yours, it would be if you can do a screenshot there or something of that and just maybe compare it to yours.
Okay, give me a second.
See
I
if
make
that makes any
check.
difference.
Okay.
Alright. So, good job. Any questions or comments, Chris? Tony?
No.
Okay. Alright, so then we'll go and look back then. Chris's first week of May stressing out. You want to talk us through this, Chris, or you just let us read on our own?
I won't read the whole thing, but pretty much I'll explain beginning of the week. You want to put music, you can. I don't want to.
Sorry, I'm trying to lower the volume a little bit, but I think that's going to get everything together. Can you guys hear Chris over the music, or?
I can.
Howdy.
Yeah, alright, hold on a second. I have no control over here. Oh, wait, it is pretty low.
You have to click the sound bar on the side.
Let's see. Yeah. Alright, we're not getting both then. Alright, so
That's
just
fine.
keep imagining that music there. So, you want to
Alright.
talk us through this? Give us a quick overview and tell me when to go on to the next one?
Okay, sure. Pretty much my original idea was to do an interactive video, and pretty much I was gonna pretend to be like a teacher, teaching guys some facts that you guys should know, but when you listen to the facts, they're kind of like all stupid and funny. But that was pretty much the idea that I wanted. Is there anything else? The picture is my ideas and what I had originally. You could go to the next slide, Mr. Duzo. Here, this just shows the proof that I actually did record, that I actually had it in the timeline, and I was actually in the middle of editing when I decided to give up. That's pretty much it. Next. So after that, I decided, I think this was Wednesday. Yeah, I think it was yesterday, Wednesday, that I decided, oh, I'll just take a bunch of photos instead. So I've been taking photos of the moon. What I'm trying to do is that I want to get sort of like a sequence of all the moon phases in like day after day, if you know what I mean.
That'd be cool.
So I've been trying to do that. You know, yesterday was a full moon and it was really cool.
Unfortunately, the weather doesn't always cooperate with that, right?
Yeah, but
If you had
I've been,
clear,
making it work.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Are you
I
doing
mean,
a time lapse thing with the moon though?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just gonna get a bunch of photos in the same spot and then crop it so that they all look at least somewhat together, and then
Oh,
it'll
dude,
look
I
good.
can't wait to see that.
You could go to the next slide. Here, this is some picture of a fire pit that I had. Was it? Yeah, I think it was either Monday or Tuesday that I had a fire, so I decided to take photos of that. That was pretty cool. You could go to the next slide.
That would I always look at like the stock videos of like the fire that you use for like chroma keying and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That might be something you want to try doing too, even since you are interested in, you do a lot with video. You could try to just record a couple seconds of video, of fire the next time and kind of key it out and maybe apply it over another image or something like that. I don't know.
I could try that.
Just ideas of kind of what to do and trying to practice different things.
Yeah, go with me. And then this is I decided to do digital art. I got this thing called Affinity Designer. It's sort of like a different version of Illustrator. I decided to get it because it was on sale and because it's probably, from what I've seen, probably the only thing that could rival or be close to Illustrator without having to pay for the whole cloud subscription, which I appreciated. So pretty much what I did was I found this thing on the bottom right, and that is like a water trap for a water dispenser on the bottom. And I was printing it out, and I was like, "Oh, this looks cool. This reminds me of an anime that I watched."
Hmm.
And yeah, pretty much there's characters that they have this ability called the Sharingan, where pretty much you could. It's hard to explain what they do, but it's like
Naruto.
it's like a power that they have in their eye.
I know
So if you
exactly
go
what
to the
that
next
is.
slide, you
All
can go
right.
to the next slide, Mr. Neo. So pretty much these are these different types of versions of what they have for people's eye, and I kind of traced that and made it look like it was the Sharingan.
Yeah, I can see it looks good.
Matt, what are you laughing
Okay.
at?
It's just that I know what it's from.
Is that rare?
No?
Does that rarely happen, or is that
Yeah.
All right. And cool. So definitely, what kind of tools use like shape tools like in Illustrator and any type of like shape
Yeah, it was
building?
pretty much it was very alike to Illustrator. I use shape tools. The one thing that they didn't have was like an image trace.
Hmm.
So what I did was that I just had like line tool to trace out the outside that was supposed to like look like an eye, and then the rest was shape tool and filling it in. Yeah.
Hello. Do you want me to read what the cards say? So I didn't really realize that I was going to be doing an alternative project on Wednesday. And when I did, I chose to create simplistic animal vectors. So next, that picture is kind of what I was trying to mimic, but with my pets. Next slide. Yeah, I really liked it. So that's my dog Sunny. She was gonna be my first subject. Next. That was how it kind of came out. And if you can tell from the main picture, I had to get rid of a lot of shadows and details and kind of like pick and choose what I wanted. I kind of, huh? No, it wasn't. I was in a different shop.
I like it.
Thank you. I like her, but not as much as the second one I did. But some of the examples to change was like her wrinkles. I kind of made them smaller and not overlapping her mouth, so it doesn't like draw away from it. Because I kind of found that with the minimalistic pictures, they work best if like one section of it is more detailed than others to draw your attention away. So for the outline of her body, I used the pen tool to make it more of a solid piece, and then I used Illustrator.
Itchy face.
Yeah, and then for the smaller sections, I use the pencil tool instead, so I can get more accurate shapes. So kind of like pen tool to get the precision and smoothness, and then pencil to get smaller shapes and details. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't too happy with Sunny. I think it's because her coat is all one color that like you notice the absence of stuff. That's why I like the tongue. I wish I did more shadows on it. But you know, it was like my first time trying. I was trying to decide like what to pick and choose, which I think the second one I did much better on. So I'm gonna flip that slide. That was Finn, my subject, and then I think a much better result. Yeah, exactly. And also, and then the final slide is just kind of me comparing it to other works of art I've done with vectoring, which are they're more realistic. So I added like as many details and shadows as I could, which you can tell like with the one of Sun, the red dog with that coat. Doing that more detailed one, when you do all the different shading and stuff, the colors of her coat pop more. If that makes sense.
Definitely. You get that contrast. I mean, that's where you get your pop from.
Mhm.
And then their shading is kind of just some ever so slightly kind of color changes in there, just to suggest a little bit of change in shape and different plane that it's on.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So good use of time. Does definitely, I know it's difficult in this the way we have things set up now, but hopefully the choices are making it so that um, you still are successful and you feel like you're expressing yourselves and it's achievable. Because I know with this and this whole environment and not having somebody directly there to see where you're missing something, especially with programming, it does get pretty difficult. So that's what you guys were working on today, or actually we kind of started talking about this greeting card a little before, but that was the goal here today, was to get your stuff into Google Plus and to start working on this greeting card. So again, what happens here? Let's get rid of this extra person here. Is that we have this card, this image that we open it,
Happy Mother's Day. Love you.
and then we have some animation in there, the customized text, and then I'm going to put some background music in here too. I thought I had some, but I don't know what happened to it. So if you know if you haven't started working on this and you want to, I know that I would definitely recommend, just as I suggested in the directions today, just remix my card. All right, so just open up the file down here, or is that the right one? Yep, that's the right one. And you press the remix button, and then once that's basically making a copy for you, and then you would just go in there and either upload your own images or you could search for them, and then just copy the attributes from my objects onto yours. You may have to change the size of your image a little bit, so or the location, and that's all happening right in here. All right, so that's your little kind of control bar there. And then you can, for the sound, that maybe the trickier part. You're going to go just into the background area, and then I think there's an option. Where am I? Oh, sound. Here it is. The sound tab is kind of like the sound library. So you import your sounds or search for them, and then once you have them in there, then you can go to your code, and it'll show up in a drop down. All right, so I know it is kind of a different mindset, and if your mind, your brain, you really just kind of resists working that way, then by all means work on something else. But hopefully you're seeing that it's just kind of copying and pasting, and then just clicking some drop downs. But try to understand, read these different lines, a block of code really, because I wish they actually had another tab that showed you, like, I don't know what language this is written in. I should probably do some research on that and find that out, because the browser, when we're clicking on this, it's just like a web page. All right, it's taking some kind of code, which, you know what? Oh, there's my background music. Somehow I got back to the beginning. There it is. So this was music that I found on their site.
Happy
hated this
Mother's
music.
Day. Love
I
you.
figured out where the sound was coming from. It just kept looping for like an hour.
I'm curious because on any web page you can say view source, and I know that this is so. Imagine if we were working in this style as opposed to working in this style though. That's what I don't know. Maddie, you said you've done code before. Have you done HTML and stuff like that, or does this look more familiar to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we look through this, this is kind of your header area. It has information about document type, which I'm looking up here, class IE HTML class. Yeah, I'm not able to interpret a lot of this. Favicon and CSS. So this has style sheet. All right, has to do with fonts and colors. Icons are like usually your favicon usually shows up here. All right, then we have a script. Yeah, I don't know what language this is written in. I was hoping we could see, I would be able to identify a little bit more in here. This may be it right here. This, so actually, JS, I'm pretty sure, is an extension for Java source. So this is basically when we're viewing it, we're viewing a page, and this script is kind of residing or existing within there to give us this visual kind of rendering of what we see here. So I probably went way too nerdy into that and techie about stuff, but you know, it is, I think, important to kind of understand and start seeing that these different languages can be connected to each other. You know, I think a lot of you all are interested in the aesthetic portion of graphic design, but the programming aspect of it, you know, getting more into computer science, especially with game programming, is really important to start understanding and at least be able to identify, so that you would kind of know where to maybe start learning if you wanted to do stuff along that line. Because I'm sure game designers are not suffering right now and missing days of work, right?
No, they're all working at home.
Right?
That's true.
Probably nothing has changed for them. They're probably laughing at everybody else who's freaking out because they're doing yeah, they prefer to live like this, right? To be almost like isolated or, you know, not have to leave.
I'm enjoying quarantine quite a lot.
Yeah. So, I don't know, that's kind of my take on that too, and seeing this, and you know, I'm no expert at it, but I think if you kind of just stand back and look at it for what it is and try to really read through and make some sense out of it, then it kind of becomes not so crazy.
Nice.
So those are my points for today. Tomorrow we'll just be turning in the greeting card and doing a critique on the ping pong games. So seeing which one you think is your favorite.
Yeah.
I'm spacing this out a little bit more, giving people time to so that there are a lot of submissions. I think when we were in class, I would have you guys kind of submit and then comment them on other people's the same day. And what I would see. Yeah, and there wouldn't be like a lot of people's, you wouldn't have a lot of choices in there really, right? So by spacing it out a day, I think it gives you more selections to have there. So and I like the way it's working out in this way. So
I forgot to realize with class that when we were in school, more AM students got more likes because they were there first. That makes sense.
yeah, and they were probably more at the top, and people are inherently lazy, so they didn't scroll down the page to see, right? Or actually, no, the earlier ones are on down at the bottom.
Yeah.
So you guys were
Yeah.
almost at an advantage in PM being submitting them later in that way, but yeah. So I don't know with your theory there, Maddie, if it had anything to do with them being there first, getting more likes, but
Well, I mean,
The AM ones were really good.
yeah,
I mean, like A class, they get the posts first, so B class my AM class is posting first, so PM class would see their stuff before we even post ours, so they get more view time.
yeah.
Really.
Yeah,
I
that's
could
kind
see
of what
that.
I thought more.
All right. So maybe this.
Because if you're like one of the first PM students to upload yours, then you only have AM options. And if you're the second or the third, then you only have one or two PM options. And the rest are all AM.
So this gives us a little bit more of a period of like saturation or submission. So hopefully,
Yeah.
I think this is working out a little better.
Well, it's just you don't even have PM.
Mhm. All right. So tonight, 8 o'clock, we'll be playing, I guess, League of Legends, and we could do Super Smash Bros. We were talking about yesterday, and maybe even try some Valorant. If maybe we'll do that last, David, because I'm guessing there'll be less people able to play that.
Yeah, because not many people will have it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can get it. Like I know how to
Just
get
gotta
it.
watch 2 hours.
Yeah, I just did it from last night till today. I did it, but I
I can't believe you got it that fast. It took me 3 days.
maybe you didn't watch long enough videos.
I did.
And I did email the people at
It's a lot of
eSports Fed.
effort for something I
Well, you don't have
don't
to
really
do it.
want.
Then don't do it, you know. I'm not happy that it took up like a lot of space on my computer. Maybe that's
Yeah, it's a big game. How big is it? Like how many gigs?
I want to say like 40ish.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
40
Oh yeah, I can't really afford
Yeah, I know. Well, that's like it's like
that. I know.
I got that and League of Legends on, so it's definitely taking a lot of space.
League is
Actually,
also,
I
like,
can complain because I have this thing.
not bad.
But however, I
mean,
noticed
I
that
really need it like
I want to delete my email because that'll free up 50 gigs, but I can't really do that. So, all right, so 8 o'clock
I really
tonight.
need like a
This thing.
Ah. Oh no, I drew through it.
We'll jump on at 8 o'clock tonight, and I don't know. I guess we'll I don't know which one we'll start off with. I'm gonna I guess we'll just get on Discord and see what the consensus is at that point.
Can I get your guys' league names? Like, can you post your league or Riot username in the Discord so I can add you guys?
Sure.
Mine's my name. Are you talking about in the
Wait.
Discord server?
Yeah, just so I can like make sure I get all the right letters and everything.
Wait, what usernames?
The
For League of Legends, your Riot ID.
Oh,
and
our
stuff.
Riot
Riot ID.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
'cause
I
they changed
forget.
it to Riot ID now
Let's
instead
change
of
it.
the normal.
I think I'm Old Man 76 if I remember. It's gonna take me too long to pull it up.
Oh yeah. Also, did
Yes,
you
it was.
email them?
I
or
really
anything?
need to get a new and I really need to get like
Mr. Dubza, did you email them already?
Yeah. I told him to contact me, but I haven't heard from him today. All right. I'm hungry. I got to eat some lunch, and then I'm gonna work outside. But thanks for coming today, everybody. Maybe I'll see you later, or if I don't,
Yeah.
have a good weekend. And make sure ask questions if you have any tomorrow or later. All right.
Alright.
No. Okay.
I'll join in on like this
Okay.
Smash tournament and that's probably it.
David,
Alright.
your ID's not working.
Yeah.
I didn't post one yet.
Oh, I thought you said it was your name.